Let's talk with someone from the Trump campaign. Boris Epshteyn joining me now, live from D.C. to talk about that and a whole lot more going on. Boris, how you doing tonight, sir?
Dan, I'm doing great. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Nice having you back on the show. So we've seen this happen before. This is now the third time under the Trump administration. This one I'd say is a little bit more tame than the last two, especially the Kavanaugh hearing. But it's still getting under my skin a little bit with the way these Democrats are trying to undermine Judge Barrett's, I would say, very, very reputable past and history, picking apart a couple cases. And really the bulk of their argument is, well, we see what President Trump has tweeted, so we know you're going to be put in to overturn the Affordable Care Act. Let's put that to bed. I know Republicans have been trying to get rid of it and install something better because it has cost Americans a lot more money in many cases. But this is not something that should be thrown at a judge, because if it does come to her and the other 8 judges, they're going to follow the law.
Well, that's exactly right, Dan. And if you look at the history of confirmations, it has been Democrats who have been mistreating Republican nominees time and time again. Go all the way back to Robert Bork in the 1980s. Bork, Clarence Thomas, Judge Alito unquestionably mistreated when he was appointed by George W. Bush. And then now we've had Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Judge Barrett. You know, what's interesting to compare is when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was nominated by Bill Clinton to the high court, do you know what the breakdown of the votes for a confirmation was?
No.
It was 96-3.
Wow.
96-3, because the Senate, the Republican senators took a look, said this is a qualified woman for the high court, and we're going to confirm her. You better believe that that's not what the vote is going to be here, because these terrible, no good, idiotic Democrats are going to grandstand and will throw out some stupid, frankly, reason to not confirm Amy Coney Barrett, but she will be confirmed. And that woman being on the Supreme Court speaks to the greatness of this wonderful country and the strength of President Trump in nominating her.
Boris, remind me back when Ginsburg was put on the Supreme Court and it was President Bill Clinton. What was the Senate makeup then? Because I forget. Did Republicans have control or Democrats? I know it's always been a small margin. So to hear that vote, that it was, you said 96-3?
96-3, and it was, you're right, it was a small margin. In no way was it anywhere close to that breakdown. But the parties, they worked together, they came together, and they confirmed this, the nominee in Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the 90s. That is very different from what we've seen and had to deal with as Republicans. I was at the White House when Justice Gorsuch was confirmed, and that was a battle. And as you know, that the filibuster rule had to be thrown out, the process that was started by Harry Reid, getting rid of filibusters for judicial confirmations, and the filibuster had to be broken against Justice Gorsuch, and then same against Justice Kavanaugh, and most likely will have to be done so again against Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who I will believe will have that title soon enough. Justice Amy Coney Barrett of the United States Supreme Court. She is supremely qualified. She's shown herself to be a strong jurist and also a wonderful person.
Yeah, you know, we've been hearing chatter from our folks at our D.C. bureau, and I saw this on some of the other mainstream media outlets. I hate giving them publicity, so I don't like saying their call letters. But it was interesting that yesterday and again this morning, they keep saying that there are some Democrat rumblings out there behind the scenes, of course. Nobody's going to go on camera and say this, that Judge Amy is highly qualified. There's no reason not to confirm her, and that they figure this is a fight that's just stupid and they should just give up and let's get going. So there is that chatter already happening on, I think, on the Democrat side, behind the scenes, maybe on the House of Representatives. You're not going to hear that from many senators, but kind of the same way it goes about the stimulus package, which I'm going to ask you about that in just a second. But I just want to continue on this SCOTUS rant for a second, if we will, because they're throwing everything in but the kitchen sink. They've now brought up abortion because they think getting her on the high court will end up turning over Roe v. Wade that's been in place for 40-some years. It's going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. The court will now change gun rights. I mean, there's so many things they just keep throwing out. What ifs? What ifs? And the bottom line is, if we follow the Constitution and the law is the law, then you got nothing to worry about, because I firmly believe, listening to her and as we've seen other justices rule, they're going to follow the rule of law, period. That's their job. Their job is not to legislate. That's those 100 people in the Senate and 435 in the House to do.
Well, Dan, good points. Unfortunately, the Democrats don't seem to be big fans of the Constitution. They want the court, they want the high court to legislate, and Amy Coney Barrett, Judge Barrett, has said specifically she does not see it as the job of the high court to fix every wrong in America. It's the job of the high court to interpret the law. The Supreme Court is there to interpret the law, and that's what she will do once she is confirmed, which I do believe she will be. You know what's sad is that the Democrat senators are again showing themselves to be pretty much buffoons. I mean, look at Mazie Hirono's questioning of Judge Barrett. Look at what Spartacus, Cory Booker did in his. They're talking about whether Amy Coney Barrett condemns white supremacy. She has 2 children adopted from Haiti.
I know.
It's just questions are ludicrous. They're disgusting. And if they were being asked of a Democrat, they would be appalling to everybody in the mainstream media. But of course, when a Republican is questioned in such an inappropriate manner, nobody in most of this mainstream media speaks up. That is a disgusting counterexample and really a double standard that most of the mainstream media applies to Republicans versus Democrats.
Boris, did somebody get in your ear and tell you what I was going to ask you next? Because my next 2 points of questioning have to do with the media. And one is Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi yesterday going off on Wolf Blitzer. I see that smile. I know you saw it. I watched this interview. It's now been clipped down. We're going to talk about it here in a minute after your interview. If folks don't know what I'm talking about, stick around in a few minutes, because it appeared that Wolf was putting his journalist hat back on once again. That hasn't been on in a few years since the Trump administration. Let's be real. No one at CNN has had their journalistic hat on. And actually held her to task and kept repeating, but why aren't you just calling the president and getting a deal for the millions of Americans that need this stimulus money? And she came unhinged. She couldn't believe that their lovely network that usually caters up to the left was calling her out. Your feelings on that?
Well, Nancy Pelosi obviously didn't think it was a Sunday morning, which is her favorite day, according to that club. Good morning, Sunday morning. All right, well, Nancy Pelosi is coming unhinged. She probably is the one who should be at least evaluated for not being able to carry out her duties as Speaker of the House or a member of the House of Representatives. And she seemed like she was thinking that she would go into the warm bubble bath that CNN and MSNBC usually are for Democrats. But you're right, Wolf Blitzer came at her good, and he said, do not let the perfect get in the way of the good. Get this deal done, work with the president, and it's obvious that President Trump and the Republican Party has done all they can to provide extra support, extra help to the American people. That $1.8 trillion proposal will be larger than the Obama stimulus. So what is standing in the way of the Democrats except for their inability to put politics to the side, inability to actually care and provide for Americans? They
can't let anything look like a win. And it's not a win for President Trump. It's a win for the millions of Americans, people that are suffering right now, for gosh sakes. They're wrapping me up, but real quick, I got to touch on this. The Project Veritas video we had on James O'Keefe yesterday to talk about his new undercover video that they just exposed. A guy that works for the Democratic Committee out in Colorado near the Fort Collins area. Did you see the video with the comments this guy was making about the lengths he's willing to go to make sure Democrats and Biden win their races around the country? Talking about killing billionaires like Jeff Bezos, talking about doing anything that illegal, whatever it takes, because that's the political climate. I was appalled.
The left is unhinged. Democrats are unhinged, and the far left controls the Democrat Party. They control Joe Biden. That's why we have to reelect President Trump on November 3rd.
All right. Boris Epshteyn, thank you so much from the Trump campaign. You're always welcome, sir.
Look forward to being back. Thank you so much. Have a great day. God bless you.
All right. God bless you, Boris. Have a good night, man. Well, since the presidential debate was canceled this week, President Trump will have a town hall on Thursday in Miami, Florida, we're told. Now, the town hall replacing the virtual debate that was going to happen this week. Both President Trump's town hall with NBC and Biden with a town hall over on ABC will begin at the same time, but again on different networks. We're told that Savannah Guthrie will host the town hall with the president, where undecided voters will present questions to him. They'll be socially distanced. They'll be wearing masks. Dr. Fauci has reviewed President Trump's medical data and said that he's no longer infectious. How about that? The president has said many times he feels great. Said it on a campaign stop in Iowa just yesterday. He has been on fire. All right, so we were just talking about this with Boris here a little bit, but I got to show you more. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, continues to reject President Trump's $1.8 trillion stimulus bill. It's been spearheaded by the president to help Americans in need. She says, though, the proposed bill has the wrong priorities and doesn't focus on the economic relief that Americans need right now. Now, at first glance, you might need more aid here or there, so it does sound understandable. Not going to throw her under the bus just yet. The bill does include an additional $400 per week of unemployment benefits, as well as another $1,200 stimulus check, which many Americans desperately need right now to pay the bills, rent, mortgage, just feed the kids. Americans don't have time to wait for this perfect relief package that she's trying to do so that she can get a win. Even some of Nancy's Democrat allies are telling her to accept the president's deal. But instead of welcoming and trying to find a compromise for you, the American people, nope, Madam Speaker continues to say no, because she just can't do anything that would appear to agree with our president. In addition to some of her fellow Democrats urging the Speaker to make a deal, guess what? Even one mainstream media journalist is calling for the same. Boris and I were just talking to this. I don't know if you saw it. Hopefully you didn't, because you're watching us. But yesterday, CNN's Wolf Blitzer went after Pelosi, and she pretty much came unhinged. I think she thought it was going to be another softball type interview. It's not how it went down.
Excuse me for interrupting, Madam Speaker, but they really need the money right now, and even members of your own.
I understand that, but
even members of your own caucus, even members of your own caucus, Madam Speaker, want to accept this deal. $1.8 trillion. Congressman Ro Khanna, for example. But let me just quote Ro Khanna, a man you know well. I assume you admire him. He's a Democrat, and he just said this. He said, "People in need can't wait until February. $1.8 trillion is significant and more than twice the Obama stimulus. Make a deal, put the ball in McConnell court." So what do you say to Ro Khanna?
What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues apologists for the Republican position. Ro Khanna, that's nice. That isn't what we're going to do.
What the hell are you talking about, Nancy? Apologist for the Republican Party? Do you watch CNN, MSNBC? Because I do daily. They never apologize and help out Republicans or this president. So I don't know what you're talking about. Now, we know that Wolf wants a deal. There are Democrats that want a deal. Trump wants a deal, even though some Republicans think the president's offering too much. That's right. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has been vocal that the only aid he's in support of is more money for small businesses so they can reopen and hire more, and not another $1,200 stimulus check. But President Trump realizes that you, the American people, need that cash, and you can't wait. You're at home right now, and you need things. But Nancy says she can wait. She can sit at home, enjoy her ice cream, kept in her $25,000 freezers. Remember that? Do you remember that? While we were all first stuck at home, and millions of families across this country were in dire need at the beginning of this lockdown, what did she do? She went on national television and was showing off her refrigerators. That's right. While people are standing in line at food pantries trying to find their next meal. Yeah. In between the brain freeze from her dark chocolate chip mocha ice cream or whatever her favorite flavor is, Nancy has the time to argue with the press when Wolf called her out. Nancy clearly caught off guard, and as the interview progressed, she became even more unraveled. You got to watch a little more.
You evidently do not respect the chairman of the committees who wrote these bills.
I respect
and
all of you.
I wish you would respect the knowledge that goes into getting meeting the needs of the American people. But again, you've been on a jag defending the administration all this time with no knowledge of the difference between our two bills, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to say that to you in person.
All right, Madam Speaker, these are incredibly difficult times right now, and we'll leave it on that note. Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll leave it on the vote that you are not right on this, Wolf, and I hate to say that to you, but I feel confident about it, and I feel confident about my colleagues, and I feel confidence in my chairs.
And it's not about me. It's about millions of Americans who can't put food on the table, who can't pay the rent,
and we represent them. And we represent them.
Getting by
we represent
these
them.
long food lines that we're seeing.
Them.
I know
we
you
know
are.
Them.
I'm just saying.
We represent them, and we know them.
As we say,
we know them. We represent them.
Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, as they say.
It is nowhere near perfect.
Madam Speaker.
Always the case, but we're not even close to the good.
All right, let's see what happens, because every day is critically, critically important.
Wow. Bravo, Wolf. First time I think I've said that, and maybe it'll be the last. Who knows, right? Still have 20-some days to the election. We know them. We represent them. She also said we feed them. Nancy, you are so far out of touch, words can't even express. All right, so the scandal continues. What am I talking about? The Hunter Biden scandal. Now, the Senate Homeland Security Committee has opened an investigation into new emails. That's right, just released about a relationship between the Bidens and, of course, that Ukrainian gas company, Burisma. The bombshell dropped today after the New York Post released obtained emails from Hunter Biden and an advisor to the board of Burisma. Now, according to the email, Hunter introduced his father, Joe Biden, to a top executive at that energy company just 1 year before Biden pressured government officials in Ukraine to fire a prosecutor who was investigating that company. Yeah, and 1 year after Hunter joined the company, the advisor on that board sent an email thanking Hunter. This is in a never-before-seen email. But of course, time and time again for the last few years, Biden claims, quote, on camera, he has never, ever spoken to his son about his business dealings or anyone from that company. That's what he has said time and time again. Well, let's put the email up, shall we? There we go. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It really is an honor and pleasure. As we spoke yesterday evening, would it be great to meet today for a quick coffee? What do you think? I could come to your office somewhere around noon or so before on my way to the airport. Keep in mind, just 1 year after Hunter joined that company, it was reported that he was earning a monthly salary of at least $50,000. Another email retrieved from May of 2014 shows the same advisor asking Hunter for advice on how he could use his influence on the Ukrainian company's behalf. This is a bigger one. This email from 2014 also retrieved from a MacBook Pro and a hard drive that was dropped off at a computer repair shop in Delaware. You know, where the Bidens live. Now, this happened back in April of 2019. The shop owner said that he couldn't remember if the man who dropped off the water-damaged computer was Hunter or not because he never actually came back to pay for it and then pick it up. But the laptop did have a sticker on it, the owner of the shop said, and the sticker said Beau Biden Foundation. The hard drive also contained photos of Hunter smoking crack and a 12-minute video of him suffering from addiction problems. Photos also on that laptop show him engaged in sexually explicit activities with an unidentified woman and other explicit photos that the Post isn't showing. Now, before the owner handed the computer over to federal agents, he made a copy of the hard drive and gave it to former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Yeah. Now, take a look at a GOP interview back in October of 2019 with Biden, saying he allegedly had no business to do with this company.
Hunter said the only thing you said to him was, quote, I hope you know what you're doing.
That's exactly right. He's a grown man. What I meant by that is, I hope you thought this through. I hope you know exactly what you're doing here.
Meaning what?
That's all I meant. Nothing more than that, because I've never discussed my business or their business, my sons or daughters, and I've never discussed them because they know where I have to do my job and that's it, and they have to make their own judgments.
Do you understand people say, Joe Biden, he's an experienced politician, statesman, knows the issues of Ukraine. Why didn't he just say to his son, this is one to take a pass on, it may not look good?
He was already on the board, and he's a grown man.
Yeah, he's a statesman, he's a career politician, and he's a liar. Now, we have one more clip I got to show you because I remembered this from back in December of 2019. A farmer had the guts, just a good old boy farmer, I love this, salt of the earth American, to stand up and ask Joey from the block if there was a connection. Remember this one? Take a look.
On the other hand, sent your son over there to get a job and work for a gas company that he had no experience with gas or nothing, in order to get access for the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he was.
So you're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And you want to check my shape on it, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Wow. Calls him a damn liar. I think we know, with all the evidence that's come forward, who the liar is. Joey Biden. All right. Yesterday here on Real America, our special guest was James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. He exposed through his undercover video that a man who is the chair of a group in Colorado called Our Revolution, and he also is an executive of the Colorado Democratic Party and Central Committee, made some very crazy, just insane, damaging, and downright disgusting comments and even threats about the length that he would go to make sure that Democrats win come November 3rd. Now, we played that full 2-minute video on our show last night that showed that man, Christopher Jacks, saying that he'll do whatever it takes. He will lie, cheat, and steal. Jacks is the chair, as I said, of Our Revolution, which is a radical left organization, and claims that a Biden administration is needed or else there will be violence. We want to tell you, you can find the video with this chair and exposing this Jacks guy on the YouTube page, Instagram, Twitter. It's all over on Project Veritas. They continue to investigate and expose the radical left corruption, and they're trying to provide more of a transparent and ethical society. I applaud them for what they do. Now, we want to show you a little bit more of the video because James O'Keefe from Project Veritas released even more this morning. Take a look.
Hello, everyone. James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. Our Chris Jacks video, Lie, Cheat, and Steal, Kill People, is up to 2 million views. Also, some news. The Denver Police Department is investigating. Thank you for your concern. The information we passed along to the proper personnel. We doubt the police will do anything, but they are investigating. Also, Ian Miles Chong reported that Chris Jacks, the Antifa militant, has deleted his LinkedIn account. In fact, he has been suspended from his employer, CenturyLink. I talked to the CEO last night, was not happy that I reached out to the CEO of CenturyLink. He has been suspended from CenturyLink. Also, YouTube has been saying that our content is, quote, inappropriate. Not Chris Jacks has done, but the fact that we've reported on Chris Jacks is inappropriate. And finally, you have the CenturyLink right there. We recently became aware of our comments made by an employee. We do not condone this type of activity and have contacted law enforcement. We've suspended the employee. Now, Chris Jacks is still an executive member of the Democratic Party. I'm about to call them for comment. We're putting out part 2 right now, and you'll be able to see me speak to Chris Jacks personally later this afternoon.
Wow. Keep following that tonight, folks. They are exposing this radical left and the lengths they are willing to go to try and steal this election. All right, coming up after the break here on Real America, our special guest tonight, Patricia and Mark McCloskey. I'm sure you remember them as the couple who stood their ground, guns in hand, as an angry mob broke into their private community in St. Louis this past summer. Stick around. It's an interview you don't want to miss.